Good morning, everyone. I'm going to share with you today my unit, Personal Essays and Storytelling, Trevor Noah, Nelson Mandela, and Nadine Gordimer, which is a curriculum unit I wrote in the summer of 2019 when I participated in the Reading for Writing, Modeling the Modern Essay seminar led by Jessica Brantley. And that seminar really had a great impact on me as a teacher. I feel as though my teaching practices and teaching writing really shifted after that summer, and I felt as though I walked away as a better writer myself. One thing that we did in that seminar is that everyone wrote their own personal narrative on top of our first draft of our units, which felt like a lot at the time, but it was really worth it. We each highlighted each day a person's essay, and not just gave feedback, but really interacted with each other on a different level, on a deeper level. And I really wanted to recreate that same energy for my students. A lot of times when we teach novels, we have comprehension questions and then a big project at the end. I really wanted to feel interactive throughout. So students work on their own personal essay, and we read a piece of writing, analyze the tools and techniques that the writer uses, and then the kids mimic that and do activities, and they work on their own essay as they go. So we read snippets of Nelson Mandela and Nadine Gordimer, but the main text that we use is the novel It's Trevor Noah by Born a Crime, the Young Readers Edition. And this is a good novel to use because each chapter is an individual story. So kids get a lot of examples of great storytelling. And if you're not familiar with Trevor Noah, he is a comedian and the host of The Daily Show. And as we know, comedians use great storytelling to relate to people. That's how they communicate, is through telling stories. So I'm going to share one activity that we do, and this is to teach kids how to add dialogue to their narrative stories, which they do not do naturally at all. Instead of writing, my mom asked me, did I do my homework? I want them to write, did you do your homework? Ask mom. And just making that little switch takes some practice. So what we do is we use the chapter Fufi, which I'll give a brief context of it before we watch it. But we read that chapter, and students act out the scene, reading the dialogue straight from the book. So I want them to pay attention to, if you're familiar with Reader's Theater, it's similar to that, but Reader's Theater is usually a script that's adapted from a story. But I want them to read directly from the book so that they can pay attention to the quotation marks, pay attention to how the story builds up through the dialogue. So in this chapter, Fufi is Trevor Noah's dog, and he's about 10 or 11 in this story. And he discovers that Fufi escapes every day and goes down to a different house and plays with another little boy in a different yard. And so he realizes this, and then Fufi doesn't come back one day. So in this scene, he's going to the boy's house to try to get his dog back. And so the girl in the orange plays Trevor Noah. The girl in the black jacket plays the other little boy. And there's another kid that is the narrator.
May I help you?
He said.
Yeah, my dog is in your yard.
What?
My dog. She's in your yard.
Fufi walked up and stood between us.
Fufi, come.
I said.
Let's go.
The kid looked at Fufi and called her by some other name.
Spotty, go back inside the house.
Whoa. Spotty? That's Fufi.
No, that's my dog Spotty.
No, that's my dog Fufi, my friend.
No, this is Spotty.
How can this be Spotty? She doesn't even have spots. You don't know what you're talking about.
This is Spotty.
Fufi!
Spotty.
Fufi!
Of course, since Fufi was deaf, she didn't respond to Spotty or Fufi. She just stood there. I started yelling at the kid.
Give me back my dog!
I don't know who you are,
He said.
but you better get out of here.
Then he went into the house and got his mom, and she came out.
What do you want?
She said.
That's my dog!
This is our dog. Go away.
I started crying.
What are you doing, my dog?
I turned to Fufi and begged her.
Fufi, why are you doing this to me? Why, Fufi? Why?
I called to her. I begged her to come. Foofy was deaf to my pleas, and everything else. I jumped onto my bike and raced home, tears running down my face. I loved Foofy so much. To see her with another boy acting like she didn't know me. After I raised her, after all the nights we spent together, I was heartbroken.
So after they act out the scene, we talk about how different that chapter would be without that dialogue. Like, what if Trevor Noah just wrote, I tried to go get my dog back, and the other kid wouldn't give me my dog, and I got upset. And we talk about how that wouldn't have really built up the story and would not have been very exciting to read. And then they have this graphic organizer where they choose a part in their own story, and they try to write their own dialogue. And the last thing I want to share is we've been really fortunate to build a relationship with the Trevor Noah Foundation. So our culminating activity at the very end is that they Zoom with two representatives from the Trevor Noah Foundation in Johannesburg, which is really cool for them to talk to someone in South Africa live. And they get to ask questions and connect with the book that way. And I put this picture up here because I always have to show them what Johannesburg looks like. I don't have time to go deeply into Trevor Noah's background, but he had a rough upbringing. And we talk about apartheid and we talk about racism. But I don't want that to be the only images of Africa or South Africa that kids have. So this is why I show this, because when we're brainstorming the questions, someone's always going to ask, do you have running water or do you have electricity? I'm like, we are not asking that. So I show them this, and then I say, does this look like a place that doesn't have running water or electricity or computers or technology? And they're like, whoa, oh my, so their questions change. And then whenever they do talk to the representatives, they're able to really connect with them and see the similarities that we really do have with our cultures. So also there's a few other schools that do this unit with me every year. So at the end, all the schools get together and they get to participate in the Zoom and talk to the representatives. So thank you.